So in this material balance model, we have nature, that is environment. That environment provides the raw material for the production of the goods and services for consumption activities. Then the raw material has been converted into production, and the production has been given for the consumption. And this production is not only producing the commodities for consumption, it is also producing wastages. As I told, agriculture commodities, if you say the raw materials we are having, we are getting it from the nature, land, labor, capital, and we are using it, and we are producing the agricultural commodities, and we are also producing so much of wastages from the production of agriculture, and wastages from the beginning point to the harvesting point. And all these wastages, agricultural waste, then the usage of fertilizers, the usage of other chemicals for the agricultural activities, pesticides, everything we are just leaving it as waste from the agricultural sector. So this waste has been formulated from the production, and again this consumption also produces wastages. We are producing wastages from the production point of view, and from consumption also we are producing certain wastages. Like when we consume plastics, we are throwing it so much of wastages. When you are consuming some commodities, the packaged materials we are wasting. And when we are using brushes, the plastic has been wasted and we are putting out to the wastage. Like that, any commodity when we consume, we are also generating so much of waste by using. And from the production point of view, some 20-30% wastage is produced. From the consumption point of view, we are also producing some 20 to 30% of the waste from the consumption. All this wastage accumulated and disposed into a common place. How we are using, for example, every day from agriculture and industry, I'm just saying, for example, 1 ton of waste is produced from agriculture, 1 ton of waste is produced from industry, and 1 ton of electronic waste is produced from the service industries. While we are using those commodities, produced commodities, I'm not talking about the waste which is produced by the companies or the sectors, agriculture sector, industrial sector, and service sector, that is already over. The final products which is produced for the consumption purposes, those commodities when we consume, we are also generating some waste that also has been added into the common waste. That common waste we are putting into dump, and the dump will go to the dump yard, and the dump yard or some waste places, wasteland, or to the water bodies, it has been disposed, and the disposal of those wastes has been again adopted or received by the nature, because the land where we are throwing it on the land is an environment, land is a nature, and where we are throwing it into the water bodies, that is also nature, the environment, or somewhere we will burn it, will burn those wastages, where it will go, that will be converted into smoke, and smoke has been floated on the atmosphere, so that the air quality of the air will deplete. So wherever we are receiving the raw materials, in the same place, we are just disposing all our waste which has been produced from the production and the consumption, and we are just putting it there. Because of that, the environment is getting damaged. That is the picture of the material flow diagram or the material balance model. How we can avoid, how we can solve this problem of this material balance effect or or the material balance which is produced waste, the production and the consumption produces waste, how we can solve. What the model is suggesting, everyone is following with me, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What the model is suggesting, after when we are disposing it into the this nature again, we are just dispersing back to the nature again, the nature by itself will do some sort of recycling. For example, if you put some waste which is having the quality or characteristics of biodegradable, suppose when we are putting some paper plates, if you are putting some waste as a paper cups, or if you're putting a paper cloth bags, or the some amount of which is having the biodegradable in nature, that will be absorbed by the nature, that itself will become as a recycling agent that will recycle, and that will be used for the further production. That is will happen by nature. That is very less percentage, because we are not using in, since if you are using the biodegradable output. But problem with the global the challenge with the global economy is we are not using the biodegradable output, because when we are throwing out the plastics, that is not degrade by nature itself. What we need to do, those plastics what we are throwing it in the, we are disposing it into back to the nature, that we need to collect, we have to recycle it, and we have to use it for the further production. Anyway, that further production also will produce not only consumption commodities, will also produce wastages, but we can able to minimize the quantum of wastages which will affect the nature, so that we can able to control and sustain our environment. So that we have to go for the recycling of the disposed wastages and convert into the production of the goods for the further consumption, so that we can able to avoid the depletion of the quality of our environment and ecological system. And moreover, it can be used for the further production activities. Even if you see the recent one sustainable activity came, the plastics plastics based roads. You all know that concept? The students, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
You know that plastic roads? You are aware of the plastic roads?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I've heard, sir.
Okay. Can anyone enumerate what is the plastic road?
So instead of burning and throwing the plastic waste in the anywhere in the environment, they kind of made it into a tar kind of thing so that they can put in the road.
Yes.
think that's
Instead of using tar, we are the many governments, they decided to go for collection of this biodegradable non-biodegradable plastic waste, and instead of throwing into the various places and burning those things, they are using it for constructing the roads, so that the road will become stronger. And secondly, the amount of waste which is generated by the industries can be used, recycled and used for some other purpose. And secondly, recyclable plastics has to be produced, and the government has also initiated to produce less than 5% microns. That is called as use and throw plastics. We used to get the carry bags from the hotels and all the previous times. So that is all we could not able to recycle. Either we have to burn it. If you burn, then it will affect the environmental quality because of the smoke is producing so much of CO2 emissions. Some emissions, some plastic emission will be created, and that will affect the air quality. Otherwise, we have to put it in soil. If you put it in soil, then that soil will also affect because it will not biodegradable. It will not merge with the ground. It will be sustained for 3,000, 5,000 years. If you put a plastic bag, it will sustain for 3,000 to 5,000 years, and it will not allow the rainwater to go inside the ground. That is all will happen. So that we have to produce the recyclable plastics, and plastic itself we have to avoid and recycle. If you have the wastages from production and consumption, and we have to recycle it for the further production. It is called as the material balance model. Is it clear, students? If you have any questions, you can ask me, please.
Clear.
Okay. I'll show you some of the pictures. How much of plastics are gathering in a particular day with respect to one area in Chennai. Yes. Can you able to see?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, this picture has been taken from Chennai Pallavaram dump yard. You can see the mountains of plastic garbages and burning of the carpet garbages. And this road is the Pallavaram road, and it is one of the heart of the city. And the right side of the road, we can able to see the one canal is there. That is also highly valuable canal. The left side also the same canal was there, but it is now become full of plastics. And this picture. And nearby there are so many IT companies that came. TCS came. This is actually TCS, and near to the TCS, this dump yard has been put. Okay, this is just to show what is the implications of the plastics and dump yard. Like that, so many case studies were there. We'll have many case studies with respect to the environmental condition. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Okay. So what are the implications of this material balance model? First one, the disposal activities may affect both consumers and producers. Uh, in material balance model, we have the nature. The nature is giving raw materials for the production, and the producers are producing the goods and services, and they are sending it for consumption, and they are also producing waste. And after the production and after the consumption, waste is generated and we are disposing it. This disposal activity would affect both consumers and producers. Sir, we are only giving, we are only producing waste. How it will affect me? Because we are also living in the same planet. When we damage the planet's environment, we are going to affect, because we are only throwing out all the waste into the land, and this is for the next generation. They will be affected because of what we are, the waste we are producing from the consumers and the producer side. And the government has to put certain policies how we can control this disposal activities. Suppose if we need to keep necessary boxes for segregating plastics. Now even in many places, many offices, and even we can able to see our college, there are three color boxes will be there in dustbin. We have to put some food waste separately. We have to put plastics bags separately, because the disposal is very important. If we dispose in an appropriate manner, we can able to identify what are the harmful for this the environment, so that we can collect and we will, can able to recycle it in a proper way. Because other biodegradable we will do automatically, but what is our role? We need to identify the which are the segregation, how it has to be done. So based on the segregation only, we can able to identify the issues. So the disposal activities may affect both consumers and producers, that we need to sort it out. Then second implication of the material balance model: too much waste entering the environment rather than being recycled or reused. Without recycling and reusing, too much of waste is coming into the disposal of to the environment. When the environment is having certain level of acceptance, I mean the tolerance level is there. So above the tolerance level, when we keep on making it, when we are putting the waste, that will also affect the environmental quality, and by itself it could not able to do that, uh, uh, the recycling method. But as a human, when we are having the production and consumption, we need to recycle and reuse. Suppose if it is a consumption, then we need to go for reusing methodology instead of one time use. And the from the production point of view, they have to use that waste for the recycling, and we have to go for the recycling. I'll give you one more example here. We all know the industries, right? Industries, large scale industries.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you please name one of the large scale industries? Sugar industry, can we take example?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sugar industry is one of the large scale industries in India. We are the one of the biggest player in production of sugar. And raw material for the sugar?
Sugar cane, sir.
Sugar cane. Majority of the input is from sugar cane only. Crushing machine is standard. One machine will be there that will work for 24 hours, it will crush, and the processing also standard. 90% of the raw material is from the sugar cane. And after crushing the sugar cane, sugar will be processed from the juice. And if you take 1 ton of sugar cane, you will get some, I'll just say, for example, 50 percentage of, not 50 percentage, 30 percentage of the juice will come out from the sugar cane. Let us take an example. I'm not exactly known that data, but we'll just take an example of 30% of the juices come out from the sugar cane. Remaining 70% of the input, where it will go? Remaining 70% of the sugar cane.
It's the waste, sir. It's extract.
What is it called as? Waste is, in our study, we will make it as a waste. It is called as bagasse. It is called as bagasse. This bagasse, tons and tons of bagasse, because the farmers are putting there so much of efforts in producing 1 ton of, I'm just saying 1 ton, we are doing it for huge tons of production. And huge tons of production, millions of tons of production of the sugar cane, 70% is going out of to the wastage. That bagasse is going for wastage. And what the industry is doing, what the farmers are doing, when it comes back, they will burn it. And if they, because they don't have space to keep the millions of tons of the bagasse, so that they will burn it. So when they burn it, it will automatically generate so much of smoke, then it will affect the environmental quality. So too much of the waste which has been came out from the production and consumption. Consumption means production of sugar canes. Consumption means consumption of agriculture commodities for the production. You got the point? Here we need to read it like this. Students, I hope you are following.
Yes.
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 So consumption waste, consumption for the consumption of raw materials for the production, and production waste means while we are producing the sugar, there will be a waste, so that the production waste has arrived, bagasse has arrived. Now we need to identify how we can reuse and recycle. If you reuse means, again we cannot use it for the sugarcane industry, because the sugarcane industry, there is nothing will come from the bagasse. Bagasse already fully squeezed, all the juice has been came out. Again, how we can use? We won't get any juices. But the same bagasse can be used for making biogas. When you put it in the process of making the biogas, we can able to get a wonderful biogas for industrial and household consumption gas by processing it, so that we can able to get fully, it will destroy, it will become powder, and it will become zero, and it will generate some kind of good amount of biogas from the biogas industries, by using as an important element of raw material, because the biogas industry, they require a lot of inputs, raw materials. This will become, so what we need to do, and the government has to do, when you are having when you are putting the sugarcane industries, you also have to start up a biogas industries. And secondly, we can also use it for, reuse it for agriculture itself as an important fertilizer, because we can make the bagasse for the production of fertilizers. Then we have to, because it's become a natural fertilizer, it has to bounce back to the reuse. And thirdly, this bagasse is also used for the animal feeding, especially for the the cows, which is available in the rural areas, and that it becomes an important ingredient for the growth of these animals. And then that animals will provide cow ducks that will also will become used for the biogas industries, that can be used for the natural fertilizer. And in this way we can able to have a clear cut path to solve the problem of this material balance effect, or reducing the disposal, or we can able to protect our environment from the wastages. And thirdly, the production and consumption activities always generate some pollution and waste. Yes, of course, either it may be air pollution or it may be some other pollution which will generate, and it will generate some waste also. It requires proper disposal. As I told, it has to be disposed properly. In the last class also I have told, during the last 3 years, tons and tons of medical waste has been accumulated, and it is going on, because still we are vaccinating, that needles are putting it without any proper recycling, or the process protocol has been applied, that PPT kits has been thrown like that, and it has been burned in many places. It is a one-time use plastic. We could not able to stop the production, but it has to be disposed and recycled in a proper way. That is also another implication of the model. In a general sense, policymakers and the government could waive up the social benefits of various productive activities. That means for such kind of productive activities, especially in, for example, if it is a production of, I usually tell two production. One is the production of milk, and another one is the production of cigarettes. So the policy makers has to give the social benefits of various productive activities. Suppose if I say there are two producers are there. One producer is producing milk. Another producer is producing cigarettes. This milk producer is providing employment for 50,000 people. The cigarette producer is providing employment for 1 lakh people. Which one is good? Hello? Students, you're following with me?
Sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes.
I was asking about two producers are producing goods and services. Goods. One producer is a milk producer. They are providing 50,000 people's employment. And cigarette manufacturer, they are providing 1 lakh level of employment. Which one is good for the economy?
Economy wise, cigarette producers, sir.
Okay. Then we are discussing about the relationship between economy and environment.
But then for the, if it is regarding the environment, then the milk producer is better, because
Yes. And secondly, when we produce milk, that will also give us some amount of waste, but those waste are transformed into the productive purposes, because cow, when we are growing so much of cows, it will give so much of cow ducks, so that it will become transformed as an important fertilizer, natural fertilizers. And whatever the milk is produced, that is also used for the creation of the health of the citizens or the people of the economy. And on the other hand, the cigarette manufacturing is also producing waste, but that waste is, we could not able to use it for the productive purposes. And secondly, when the people is consuming that cigarette, they also affecting due to smoking, and Additionally, that smoke is affecting the environmental situation. So the third party, the common people who don't have the cigarette smoking habit, they will also affecting due to that. You got the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. Now the government has to take a necessary steps for the productive purposes, for the productive productions activities. They have to provide them support. They have to give them some amount of subsidies for the consumption of milk. 1 liter 40 rupees. Don't charge 40 rupees. You the producer farmers, you charge 40 rupees from the consumers, but we pay 5 rupees or 10 rupees as subsidy. You charge 35 rupees from the consumer, so that 40 rupees you will get. That is for the production, for the promotion of the production of milk. And on the other hand, the cigarette producers, we cannot say lock down the cigarette manufacturing company. You will produce, whoever is required, they will buy and they will use, but you need to pay a good amount of taxes, so that they have been charged very high taxes, not only from the production point of view, from the consumers who is consuming the cigarette. You are also making damage to the environment, you are making damage to you. That is also government has to put up one government hospital, and you are damaging the environment, so for that also you have to pay taxes. And that is why the taxes on cigarettes and taxes on liquor is more than the price of the commodity, right?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Both Jamal and Sanjay, they knows that pricing. Liquor price. No, no, I'm just
Jomal
saying
knows, sir.
pricing. I'm just saying the pricing. Even I know. That doesn't mean I will consume. I'm just saying 70 rupees was the production cost of one particular quantum of liquor, and it has been sold at 130 rupees. 70 minus 130, that means almost 60 rupees. 60 rupees is the charge, and even sometimes it will go more than that. So almost that equivalent to the commodity price, the taxes has been levied. That is for the one objective is to control the consumption. Second, if we consume, if someone else is affected due to this, or you also affected due to this, the society has to bear the social cost. To cover up the social cost, then this has to be used for this. This taxation has to be used for that. And secondly, this money can also be used for to provide subsidy of the milk producers. That is what that fourth implication. You got the point, students?
yes, sir.
Yes. So generally, the policymakers or the government could weigh up the social benefits of the various productive activities, and they also have to measure the problems of disposal from the cigarette manufacturers, or those who are harmful for the society. And if a balance can be reached between the acceptable levels of the material flows, because the environment itself having certain amount of tolerance, if it is within that tolerance level, when we are putting it waste, then it will be fine. The economy, the environment will accept that, it will adopt that, and that will also process it, and it gives further input for the production, and there will be an increase in output and improvement in environmental quality as well. Because if you're putting the waste at an acceptable level, the material balance will happen, because that environment will accept and they will process it for the and they will give back as a raw material, and we can use it for the further production, so that the output also will improve, the environment quality also will be at a sustainable level. And modifying an environmental medium through investment in control facilities. So the both the private and public has to modify an environmental medium through an investment in control facilities. They have to make certain amount of investment in controlling facilities, how we can control the disposal, how we can control the waste, either from the production point of view or post-production point of view, with the help of recycling technology, investment on reusing technology, investment on recycling the commodities, how we can reuse that commodity for some other purpose, that has to be used. That is what I told, the investment has to be made along with the sugarcane industries. So along with the sugarcane industry, that investment has to be made to make use of the bagasse for some other production. So the overall country's GDP will increase. Please, here also I am connecting this one. We are increasing the size of the GDP by keeping up our environment quality in an appropriate place and with the help of abatement cost. This is also we can, this investment for the use of instead of putting it waste into the environment, invest some money and make use of that waste to produce some other commodity. Your GDP will increase, your environment quality will not damage more, and your output, I mean your the cost of abatement, controlling cost, controlling of waste, controlling of the environment will increase. That means that is not just a cost, it is an investment for enhancing the environmental quality, and it is an investment for enhancing the GDP. You got the point, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So more systematic methods for forecasting emissions. We need to apply the technology for forecasting the emissions. Delhi, we have to go for some new technological investments for controlling the CO2 emissions which is generated from vehicles, CO2 emissions which is generated from industries. How we can forecast for the next 5 years, how it would be. Then we have to put up certain kind of plans and now itself to control that emission. And economic activities and recycling provides physical system basis for environmental quality management, so that the policy makers has to set up a kind of methodology or strategies to enhance the quality of the environment. By applying this implications, or by understanding this material balance model, we can able to control the disposal of wastages from production and consumption, so that we can able to maintain the sustainability in production and consumption of the economy. Thank you. I'll stop here.